If you've ever wondered what XG actually means, why Messi could have an off-season with 25 goals, or how teams like Brighton consistently outperform their budget through smart analytics, this video will give you everything you need to know. Welcome to Hybrid Metrics, your home for data-driven football analysis pertaining to Arsenal. Today, we're building the foundation for understanding how statistics tell football's real story. Anyone can tell you Liverpool scored 86 goals last season, but can they tell you whether that was efficient, lucky, or exactly what you expect? Modern football analytics gives us those answers. Let's start with the basics: goals, assists, and clean sheets. These are the outcomes, what actually happened on the pitch. And they matter enormously because football is ultimately about scoring more than your opponent. But here's what traditional stats don't tell us. Was that goal a brilliant strike or lucky reflection? Did the assist come from a perfectly weighted through ball or mishit cross? Was that clean sheet against Manchester City or against a relegation-threatened team missing their top striker? Let me give you a concrete example. In the 2024-25 EPL season, Bryan Mbuemo and Chris Wood each scored 20 goals. Who had the better season? Well, what if I told you Mbuemo took 64 shots and played 38 matches to get those 20 goals, while Wood took just 56 shots and played 36 matches? From these numbers alone, Chris Wood seems more efficient. This is why modern analytics exists, to give us the context that raw numbers can't provide. Traditional stats tell us what happened, but modern stats tell us how it happened, whether it was sustainable, and what we can expect going forward. They help us separate skill from luck, identify players who might be due for improvement, and understand tactical approaches that aren't obvious from goals and assists alone. So let's start with the most important modern statistic in football. Expected goals, or XG, measures the quality of scoring chances. Think of it this way. If you took the exact same shot 100 times from the exact same position, under the exact same circumstances, how many times would it typically go in? A penalty has an XG of about 0.8, meaning 8 out of 10 penalties are usually scored. An open goal from 6 yards has an XG of around 0.9. A shot from 25 yards out might only have an XG of 0.05, or just 5 chances in 100. XG considers shot location, angle, body part used, type of assist, and defensive pressure. It's based on thousands of historical shots to create these probabilities. Here's how to read XG in practice. Let's say Arsenal creates 2.03 XG against an opponent's 0.16 XG, but the game ends 1-1. This tells us Arsenal dominated in terms of chance quality. They should have scored about 2 to 3 goals based on their opportunities. However, the 1-1 result suggests either poor finishing from Arsenal, excellent goalkeeping from the opponent, or just bad luck. Over time, teams and players tend to regress towards their XG numbers. So Arsenal, in this example, would likely score more goals in future games if they continue creating similar quality chances. For individual players, XG helps identify finishing ability. Erling Haaland, for example, regularly outperforms his XG because he's clinical. A player underperforming their XG by a large margin might be due for improvement, or might need better shooting. Now, XG isn't perfect, but as a tool for understanding chance quality and predicting future performance, XG is invaluable. It's used by every major club in the world for recruitment, tactical analysis, and performance evaluation. XG focuses on attacking play, but what about defense? Defensive statistics are trickier than attacking ones, because good defending often means not having to make tackles at all. Tackles, interceptions, and blocks are the basic defensive actions. But a center back who makes 8 tackles per game might actually be worse than one who makes 3 tackles per game if the first defender is constantly being beaten and having to recover. The best defenders use positioning and game reading to prevent dangerous situations from developing. So raw defensive numbers need careful interpretation. This brings us to PPDA, or passes per defensive action. This measures how many passes a team allows their opponents before attempting to win the ball back. Liverpool, under Jurgen Klopp, averaged around 9 to 10 PPDA, meaning they tried to win the ball back every 9 to 10 opponent passes. A team that sits back and defends might have a PPDA of 18 to 20. They allow many more passes before engaging. Now, neither approach is inherently better, but PPDA helps us understand tactical intent. Low PPDA teams are high pressing and aggressive. High PPDA teams are more patient and positionally disciplined. Remember, defensive stats must be contextualized. A defender facing Liverpool or Man City will have different numbers than one facing a lower league team. Game state matters too. Players make more tackles when their team is losing and chasing the game. They make fewer when protecting a lead. The best defensive analysis combines individual actions with team results. Clean sheets, goals conceded per game, and defensive shape affects the entire team's performance. Goals and assists only capture the final action and scoring sequences. But what about the player who makes the pass before the assist? Or the one who carries the ball forward to create the opportunity? This is where advanced attacking metrics become crucial. They help us identify players who contribute to goals without getting direct credit in traditional statistics. A player, for instance, like Kevin De Bruyne, might have only 7 assists in a season, but his overall creative contribution is much higher when you dig deeper into the numbers. When you dig deeper, key passes measure any pass that leads to a shot. Even if the shot is saved or missed, the pass creator gets credit for generating the opportunity. Expected assists, or XA, takes this further. It assigns each key pass a probability based on the quality of the shot that followed. A pass leading to a 0.8 XG chance gets 0.8 XA, regardless of whether the shot was scored. These metrics help identify creative players who are unlucky with teammates finishing, or who consistently create high-quality chances. Progressive passes and progressive carries measure how much a player moves the ball toward the opponent's goal. Progressive pass advances the ball at least 10 yards closer to goal or into the penalty area. A progressive carry moves the ball at least 5 yards closer to the goal through dribbling. These stats together help identify players who drive their team forward, even if they don't get assists. A deep-lying midfielder who consistently plays progressive passes is enormously valuable, even without obvious attacking numbers. Combined with defensive work rate, these metrics paint a complete picture of a player's contribution to their team's attacking and defensive phases. So how do we put all these statistics together? The most important principle in football statistics is adjusting for playing time. Always look at per 90-minute numbers, not season totals. A player with 15 goals in 20 games has a much better rate than someone with 18 goals in 35 games. The first player scores 0.68 goals per 90 minutes, while the second scores just 0.46. This applies to every statistic: assists, key passes, tackles, everything. Per 90 adjustments let you compare players fairly, regardless of injuries, rotation, or different roles. Small sample sizes can be misleading. A player might have incredible numbers over 3 games that don't reflect their true ability. Generally, you want at least 10 to 15 games of data for meaningful analysis. A full season gives you the most reliable picture. Context always matters. Opponent strength, game situation, tactical setup, even weather conditions can affect statistics. Never judge a player on one statistic alone. The best analysis combines offensive output, defensive contribution, playing style, and tactical fit. A complete player evaluation might include goals per 90, XG, key passes, progressive actions, defensive work rate, and passing accuracy. Together, these paint a full picture of contribution and playing style. Now let's wrap this up. Understanding these statistics transforms how you watch football. You'll spot the subtle contributions, identify undervalued players, and see tactical patterns that aren't obvious from goals alone. In our next video, I'll be putting these concepts into practice with a complete statistical breakdown of Arsenal's 2024-25 season. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to Hybrid Metrics for data-driven football analysis. What statistics surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments.